Insights channel, Steve here, and today I'm going to read to you from my latest book, Secrets of ENOCH INSIGHTS, and it's one of the earlier chapters. This is chapter 11. Here they took Enoch up onto the fourth heaven, where is the course of the sun and moon. Comment 1. Could it be that each heaven affects different areas of creation in God's universe? 4 is the number of creation, as we live in the third dimension plus 1, or the fourth dimension of time. And those men took me and led me up to the fourth heaven. So here you got God's angels, 2 very powerful angels, taking Enoch through the 10 levels of heaven. Not 7, but 10 levels of heaven. Interesting. And those men took me, I should say angels, not men, and led me up to the fourth heaven and showed me all the successive goings, all the rays of the light of sun and moon. Imagine being taken on a tour of the whole universe, like Enoch was, and shown everything. Unbelievable. Talk about time involving the rotation of the stars and the sun and the moon. Verse 2 and 3. And I measured their goings and compared their light and saw that the sun's light is greater than the moon's. Verse 3. Its circle and the wheels on which it goes, always like a wind going past with very marvelous speed, and day and night it has no rest. Oh, incidentally, see Eastern pictures of the Orient with art of the sun and the moon in chariots on wheels. Where did they get that idea from? Because this book of Enoch, second book, says the same thing. So does the first book of Enoch. Comment 2. Described here like the inner workings of a giant mechanism with the precision of an old-fashioned grandfather clock. The book of first Enoch also mentions the same thing. It is as though Enoch can see the inner mechanisms behind our physical dimension, or the inner workings of the spirit world. Yes, see the first book of Enoch, or my first book, ENOCH INSIGHTS, the luminaries. That's all about the stars and the moon and the planets, chapters 72 to 82. Verse 4. Its passage and return are accompanied by 4 great stars, and each star has under it 1,000 stars, to the right of the sun's wheel, and by 4 to the left, each having under it 1,000 stars, altogether 8,000, issuing with the sun continually. Now that certainly is mysterious. What's that all talking about? I don't think any of us have seen that, well, yet. Comment 3. The sun's wheel, again a mechanism which controls the sun and moon and the stars, which we cannot currently see with our physical eyes. It's obvious that something holds the universe together in perfect harmony. The scientists cannot fathom it or understand it. It makes the diviners mad, as Scriptures tells us. It reminds me of what the famous physicist Millikan stated. I believe in God because just as in my watch there is such intricate precision, so also behind this complex universe there has to be a mechanism and designer. And yes, and you can see exactly that in this second book of Enoch. And also the first book of Enoch, the Luminaries section, in chapter 72, as I mentioned before. Isaiah 44, 24, 25. Thus saith the Lord thy Redeemer, and he that formed thee from the womb. I am the Lord that maketh all things, that stretcheth forth the heavens alone, spreads abroad the earth by myself, that frustrates the tokens of the liars, and maketh diviners mad, that turns wise men backwards, and maketh their knowledge foolish. Comment 4. Wheels are some spiritual mechanisms mentioned in the Bible in Ezekiel chapter 1 and 10, and they are found around the throne of God. Verses 5 and 6. And by day 15 myriad of angels attend it, and by night 1,000. And 6 winged ones issue with the angels before the sun's wheel into the fiery flames. and 100 angels kindled the sun and set it alight. Well, that's interesting. 100 angels kindled the sun and set it alight. Ever wondered how things keep going on so perfectly every day, with the sun shining, the moon shining? Nothing changes in the revolution of the planets and the stars, although they like to try and tell us that it's all going to one day blow up, but it's all nonsense. They're stupid, the scientists, very stupid. They don't know anything. They just make it all up and claim that they're the only ones that know anything, and that anybody in the past who knew other knowledge and wisdom was superstitious. But you don't learn anything in a spirit of arrogance like modern scientists, and many like them. Not all, of course. Some are good, but some are bad. Comment 5. How the scientists altered time. Well, this was really bad. Most people don't even know anything about this. Yeah, did you know they altered time itself way back in 1967? So God had everything rotating perfectly so we can know the time. Somebody decided they didn't like that, so let's change time, or how we perceive time. How the scientists altered time from rotations of the Earth and Sun to now. That's not how they measure time. It's all according to an atomic clock related to radiation instead. And that was done in 1967. You know, it's amazing that people that run the planet, or so-called run the planet, they do a lot of stuff and get away with it. And it's amazing how they get away with everything. Well, until God moves in. In ancient times before Christ, there used to be what is referred to today as the prophetic year, containing only 360 days in the year, as quoted in both the prophetic books of Daniel and Revelation. Why did God, through his prophets, refer to the year as having 360 days, unless it was true? Comment 6. In both the Book of Enoch and the Book of Jubilees, it states that there are 364 days in the year, but is it just possible the number of the days have been deliberately tampered with in both the books of Enoch and Jubilees? In reading the Book of Enoch repeatedly, you'll see that Enoch also describes the year as having 12 months of 30 days, which is a prophetic year equal to 360 days. So why one announcement in the Book of Enoch as to 364 days? Is it consistent with most of the text? Again, in this Book of Jubilees, this is a quote out of my book, Jubilees Insights, it states also 364 days. In my opinion, I think the numbers have indeed been tampered with. Why? As I stated in ENOCH Insights and Josh Insights, as well as this book of Jubilees Insights, the exact dates or historical events differ slightly between these books upon occasion. Most times, and dates are very similar, but occasionally one time or day seems out of place. Why is that, you may ask? Probably at some time in the past, the books, or around 150 years ago, when modern science was really starting to take off with evolution as their foundation, many books were slightly tampered with by those who didn't want the books to remain canonized. In other words, discouraged most people from reading the books. The original books of Enoch, Josh, and Jubilees have incredible revealing information for those who take the time to study them thoroughly and repeatedly. Yes, and those books, the ancient Hebrew books, that's very old books. Comment 7. Example, consider an object rotating around another in a perfect circle. How can we describe this action as mathematicians or physicists, other than stating the object rotates in a perfect circle of 360 degrees? If one was to therefore put any given number of days in the year, it would be logical to put 360 days to the year, which is what used to be called an absolute number. Comment 8. If people were to think that there were 360 days in the year, it might get them to thinking, 1, it sounds like the number of the degrees in a circle. 2, 360 is divisible by 12, like the months in the year. 3, 360 is also related to the number of minutes and seconds, 360 times 6. Wow, 360 is a very special number, So maybe there is a God of the absolutes, person may deduce. So science, as so often guided by Satan or evil spirits, decided they had to corrupt the concept of time itself. Finally, comment number 9. Why would science deliberately want to alter the number of days in the year, you might ask? Simple. Because if the number is 360, it proves the existence of God, as it is not a random number. And it also proves total order, shows a reliable constant. However, the scientists, in their desire to disprove the existence of God, tried to alter the days to 365 and a quarter days in a year. But we now have this messy add-on of the leap year every 4 years. This means we add on a missing day every 4 years. I'm sure that is not how God originally created the time sequence. Well, thanks for listening. That was just from one of my early chapters, one of the short ones, chapter 11. I hope you found that interesting. Actually, I'm going to read you another chapter now. I'll read you chapter 12. This is a totally different topic, but also fascinating, very short chapter. Chapter 12, of the very marvelous elements of the sun. And I looked and I saw other flying elements of the sun, whose names are phoenixes and CHALKYDRI, if I'm saying that right, CHALKYDRI, strange name. Marvelous and wonderful, with feet and tails. Look at what the description of these creatures, CHALKYDRI. Marvelous and wonderful, with feet and tails in the form of a lion and a crocodile's head. Very odd, crocodile's head. And their appearance is empurpled like the rainbow. Their size is 900 measures. That sounds very big. And their wings are like those of angels. Each has 12. And they attend and accompany the sun, bearing heat and dew, as it is ordered them from God. So some very, very strange, massive creatures taking care of the sun. Phoenixes and CHALKYDRI. Very strange. One has a crocodile's head in the form of a lion. Another one of those chimeras. Wow. Comment number 1. See my book, Out the Bottom Spit 2. Came out about a year ago, chapter 35. About the phoenix and a vision of a dragon in Phoenix over Iceland on the 22nd of February 2019. Was that vision in the sky prophetic? Strangely, some 6 months later, the world saw massive worldwide devastation with a pandemic and a worldwide clampdown by governments of the world. Millions have died, including many young and athletic people, from that pandemic and from the treatments given. Yes, and that's a fact. Verse 2. Thus the sun revolves and goes and rises under the heaven, and its course goes under the earth with the light of its rays incessantly. Comment 2. Modern science tells us that the earth revolves around the sun, but apparently that's not true. The earth is apparently the center of the universe, and all celestial bodies revolve around it, as brought out by the geocentric earth scientific theory. Heliocentric is the sun being stationary and the earth revolving around it. If the earth is stationary, does it spin on its axis in order to give night and day? Comment 3. Lies in science. They deliberately lie about ancient wisdom and knowledge as though it was ridiculous. They try to ridicule the old wisdom and the old knowledge as though it were all false and mere superstition. And in fact, according to them, the modern scientists, they are the only ones that really know anything of value, and furthermore, they've only found it out lately and are revealing these marvelous truths to you for the first time. Just total arrogance. The truth is that man has forgotten so much of the ancient science and mathematics, which were much more advanced than the sciences of today. As mentioned by Sir Isaac Newton, who was the discoverer of gravity in the 17th century. Or better said, he rediscovered gravity. Modern man is not as smart as he thinks he is. See astronomical fakery. I've got a link there in the book there. Comment 4. I know science tells us that the rotation of the earth is slowing down, but is that true? Isn't the whole universe created perfectly and governed by absolute mass, of which the so-called ancients were aware of? Comment 5. Stating that orbits are decaying or the spinning of the earth is slowing could be just a method of controlling the facts. After all, most people don't understand science that well. We know from scriptures that there used to be 360 days to the year, which were 12 times 30-day months, and not like modern times with the random length of the months being 31, 30 or 28 days, or even 29 as in the case of February and a leap year. Man has really messed up the days and times and seasons. It used to be very simple, 360 days in the year, 12 months of exactly 30 days each, 24 hours to each day. Comment 6. So how did the powers that be manage to alter the length of the year? The powers that be added the minutes and the seconds and set the exact length of the second and minute to fit their altered calendar to become the confusion mentioned above, of 365 days to the year. However, in their desire to prove that time is random, they still left traces of their errors. The fact that every 4 years they must add on exactly the same number. Did you know that according to Solomon, who was the wisest man to ever lived on earth, with the exception of Jesus Christ, he stated that no man can know the workings of creation under the sun. Even if he thinks to know, he cannot find it. Why? Such knowledge is hidden from mankind. Enoch, however, could see the inner workings of the universe and all the intricate control systems behind the physical universe. I hope you found those chapters there, early chapters in my book, my new book, Secrets of ENOCH Insights, based from the second book of Enoch. Well, thanks for listening. I would like to encourage everybody, please do get my books, including my latest book, Secrets of ENOCH Insights, and also, as a companion to that, get my first book, ENOCH Insights, based on the first book, Enoch. Then also you have these ancient Jewish books or Hebrew books. We've got Joshua, Jubilees, you've got Esdras, and you've got Testament Talk Patriarchs, you've got Eden Insights, and I have 2 books also based on the paranormal, Out of the Bottomless Pit, 1 and 2. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. Have a great day.